Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream. Again, I have had to do a lot of fixing. My hard drive broke, so I've been doing a lot of fixing on my mic settings and all of that. I had to totally redo them. So if it sounds a little bit off, just bear with me. If anything sounds off or different, just put it in the chat so I can be sure to look at that and fix it in the future. So I did a kind of a short little stream yesterday, just in the Discord. For whoever was around, I'm gonna kind of do a little recap of that, and just talk about like the last month of price action. It's been really, 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 really choppy. I mean, just in the course of, since April 14th to now, so about 6 weeks, price has really only, we've seen a move down of about 15 16%, which really over the course of 6 weeks, that's really not a whole lot to see from BTC. So we're definitely some degree range down, slow bleeding to the downside. And I want to talk a little bit about that, and we'll sort of address what to expect moving forward and what kind of brought us to this point. So one thing that I do want to talk about, first of all, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's zoom out and let's acknowledge the fact that we're 2 days away, basically a day and 10 hours away from the monthly close. And you can see right now this monthly close, it's not terrible. We can see that we had a really nice bounce from this zone here, and prices, since then kind of holding this area of support. So it's really not that bad. I don't think it's great, let's say, for bullish continuation, but it's certainly not bad. And if we do put this in here, we are going to be looking at a new monthly level, we are going to be looking at a new monthly level here at about 29,240. Okay, and that's why right now this level is a really key zone here, 29,240. If you can keep that level in mind, if price within the next day and 10 hours here, if we are able to get above that 29,240 level, we could be looking at a green candle here, and not just a green candle, but possibly a bullish hammer. So it's really important, that in the next, say, 36 hours, that the bulls really do show up for BTC to give us a decent monthly close, and possibly a very bullish monthly close, right? So we'll go down to a weekly time frame here, and again, it's really important that we zoom out and we give ourselves some context for our lower time frame trades, right? When we look at the monthly candle, when we look at the weekly candle, we can visualize what is possible for price, and we can see on the monthly, again, that monthly open, the 29.2 zone, is a really crucial area of resistance for bears to defend if they want to close this month red. Okay, and the bulls likely want to close above about 27K if they want to continue to hold this area and last month's low as support, right? So these two areas you really want to keep in mind in the next 34 36 hours here for that monthly close, and I guarantee you there's going to be quite a bit of volatility going into that close. So now looking at the weekly, again, I want to keep this in the larger context of, we have a possible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse wave here. Now, in my opinion, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is possible, so as long as this area holds as support, and that's the 382. So wave 4 is typically defined as a sideways consolidation, slow bleed. It's defined as a profit-taking wave. So there's been a lot of profit taking in here, right? We had this massive impulse wave 1, a very quick wave 2 to the downside, which is exactly what you want to see, a very powerful wave 3 getting us up above 30K, and now we've sort of had this slow bleed, which suggests that this is mostly profit taking here, that is now finding support at the 382 is typically where you'd want to see your wave 4 find support. Okay, so this is a really nice, this looks good, and the point I'm trying to make here is this: if Bitcoin is going to go on to make another high, let's say sweep this high here, or at the very least get above into this zone here, in my opinion, this this area, these lows have to hold a support. If we take these lows, I think it's unlikely that we sweep the low and then have continuation up. I think that that is an unlikely scenario. Personally, I believe that we have to hold the 382 here. We have to hold these lows. And if we can do that, I do believe that there's possibility that Bitcoin does go on to take out this high. If we take out these lows, then I think that we're likely in to look a little bit lower, and then we're looking for probably, I would say a more range bound scenario where, we're kind of looking at maybe a move back up to here and then something like down to here and so on and so forth. I wouldn't really be looking onto new highs if we do take out these lows. I just think that this is a really nice area for price to find support and then have continuation to the upside. Okay, so we have that in mind. We know the monthly open or the monthly close is coming up. We know the 29.2 area is key. We know the 27 area is key. We know we want to hold the 382. Okay, great. So we'll move on and take a look at our lower time frame charts, and I want to dive into this and just tell you guys a little bit about some previous price action here before we look at our next setup. There's just something that I really want to kind of address with you guys that I did talk about in the Discord live stream yesterday for a time, and I really want to get this point across to you guys. So I take a lot of swing trades, and to be honest with you, I really pride myself on my ability to take swing trades. For the most part, the only, I caught the move from here to here, back up to here. Most of the move down to here, I missed this leg of it, but that was okay. And then I believe, I honestly can't remember if I longed from here up. We range traded this. I missed the move up to here. I shorted down into here. I shorted down into here. I longed into here up to here. For the most part, I'm really good at catching these major pivots. And in the spirit of full transparency, I just really want you guys to understand. So I want to walk you through this. When I shorted this zone here, okay, I shorted this zone because it was the 618 back test of this area. So I shorted the very first day that we went into here, right? The first and second day, right in here. We had this move down, we revisited my entry, then we had the move back down. I took a little bit of profit, but not much. We came back up, and I added back again into my shorts here. Now, what I want to point out to you guys, one thing that I had noticed is that a lot of people in the Discord really got shook out of these positions. If we go to a lower time frame, I mean, look how volatile this was, right? This swift move down, revisit entry, down, revisit entry, down, revisit entry. And when you have that constant revisiting your entry kind of thing happening, it's really nerve-wracking. It's really easy to say, well, I do think that I could get stopped out. I don't want to get stopped out. I don't want to get liquidated. Maybe you're over positioned, so you feel uncomfortable holding that position. And in the long run, I kid you not, this is the God's honest truth. When I was re-adding to my short in here, I was talking to people from the group saying that they were closing their positions out of concern, right? And so in order to do, if you really take a look at this, I held this trade because I opened the first of it here. I held this for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days I held this for and re-added to it before finally 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, almost, over 2 weeks. I held this position to, basically catch, my entry was about here to catch, and I closed at roughly here. So I caught about a 10% move, okay? And in the spirit of total transparency, don't get me wrong, I'm calling scalps in between here and here and here. Some win and some lose with scalps. But when you have really thin order books and there's not a lot of liquidity in the market, it's very easy to move it to have these really significant choppy price action. And this chop is designed to shake you out of your position, and that's exactly what it did here for a lot of people. So one thing I was saying as price was trading in here, I said, guys, get off lower time frame, focus on higher time frame, because I saw people flip bullish to bearish to bullish to bearish. And the entire time I'm saying, just keep shorting the 618 here, have your stop loss above the previous high, and we're going to trade this lower. And at the time, I really thought that we were going to trade it significantly lower, maybe down to 22. And we can see that it was more of a slow bleed down to about this zone here, right? So again, like in the spirit of total transparency, I do offer a lot of scalp trades, and I take those scalps, and I like scalping. I think that it's fun. But in this low liquidity environment with these thin order books, it's very easy for price on a lower time frame to be manipulated to stop you out of your positions or to spook you out of your positions. Now, if you're trading on a higher time frame and you're looking at these higher time frame levels and taking a trade, these higher time frame levels are much more difficult to manipulate. As you can see, this zone held as resistance, and you were able to open up a short here time and time and time again for an eventual move down that we had planned for well in advance, right? So like I said, I do scalp, but the majority of my profits, the money that pays my bills, are largely not from scalping. It's from these big trades. It's from these trades that take time, that you have to position yourself for. You're not doing 100x short or long. You're building, a 20x leverage position with your stop above a previous high, taking your time with it, thinking of it as a zone, building a position in a zone that you're then looking to trade down. Those are the positions that ultimately, have made me the majority of my money over time. And again, we have another nice example here. I had this butterfly harmonic that I was looking to trade. Let's look here to the 618. I'll go ahead and hide some of this stuff here. I don't want to get the chart too messy for you guys. But this felt, in a very similar way, right? This felt very, very similar to me as it did up here, where, so the very day that we got this move down, I planned for this 3 days in advance, almost to a T here. Let me see if I don't think I have it anymore. But almost to a T, I planned this about 3 days in advance. We hit the zone right on the money, what I was looking for. I closed my short, 100% closed my short from up here, and I flipped long. And I openly flipped long. I told you guys in the Discord. I started laddering in from 26. As a matter of fact, I went in a little early. I started, I think, at like 26,500. Laddered in heavily, brought my average to 26. We got to move up here. I took a little bit of profit. And when we got this move back down, I added significantly in here, and we'll talk about why in just a moment. And my average entry was about 26,300, and I traded that all the way up to, I think I closed the majority at about 28,100, right? So I caught about almost a 7% move there on this trade. Now, meanwhile, if we go to a lower time frame, we really did have, we had a really nice range here that, I openly suggested people, go ahead and trade it. And I myself would have had, I had my computer at the time, but my hard drive was fried. And we had this really nice range here. You could long the bottom, short the top, long the bottom, short the top, so on and so forth, take profit at the midline, just like we talk about in our range trading tutorials that I have on my website. And, meanwhile, in the group, again, I feel like a lot of us, we're kind of ignoring the bigger picture here, where I'm seeing people flip bullish in here, bearish in here, bullish in here, especially bearish down here. And, now we're back up to being bullish and looking for longs when the long trade has already gone in. I really, there was a lot of people very bearish in this zone where I was looking for long positions. And it took me, again, guys, if we look at this, I opened it here. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, again, 2 weeks that I held that position because price is just so choppy. And if you're going to hold these long-term positions, the ones that really, in my opinion, the ones that really pay out over time, you really have to find some degree of patience. And again, if you're a lower time frame trader, you didn't have to enter, I entered on here because of the harmonic, and I knew that I was going to hold it long term. But truthfully, the best entry you could have taken, and I pointed this out in the Discord, is if we look at the range low here, and this is our range high, and we look at this level here, and we can say, all right, and I remember this happening. We were trading down here, and I said, it's more likely this is a deviation. And when I saw that, and I said in the group, this is more likely than a deviation, I opened up more of my trade down here at about 26,300. I opened up a significant portion of my trade here. I added back a lot. And when we had this move up back into the range, back tested the range here, and then boom, there's your move up. So if you are going to be a lower time frame trader, you know, again, and I'll zoom out for a moment here, and I'll point this out to you. If you want to catch these larger positions, one thing I do want to say, you know, people often have this expectation that you know, I'll throw a signal out there, I'll throw a trade out there, and they'll expect a return to happen within minutes or hours or maybe within the day. Okay. And as we can see here, you know, having caught this big move here and this big move here, it took 2 weeks for those signals, for those calls that I took, that I shared with you guys. It took 2 weeks for those to play out. And for a lot of people, you know, when it takes too long, you know, we call it capitulation by time. So there's capitulation by price, where we get a major move down, and then there's capitulation by time, where people get chopped out in this price action thinking that their trade, in this case a long trade, was wrong. So they capitulate their position to whoever's looking to actually open and trade it up, right? So what we're seeing a lot of here is capitulation by time, people that are not willing to hold those positions for longer periods of time. But going back to the idea, you know, where people often expect, like, you know, a big move or for their return on investment to happen within hours. Here's what I want to point out to you is that price spends the majority of its time not making these big moves. It spends a majority of time ranging. So we have a range here, big move, range, move, range, move, range, move, range, move, range, move up, range, move up, range, move down, range, range, range. It's the majority of its ranging. If you're going to try to catch these moves in between, you're building your position in these boxes, right? This is where you build your position in these boxes here, right? Range, range, large range, 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 range here, range here, range here. This is where you're building your positions, right? Right? Because price spends the majority of its time ranging, and then when these moves happen, they happen fast and they leave you behind if you're not already positioned. Okay? So the one thing that I'm really trying to get across to you guys is really quality over quantity, okay? And I know it's fun to take those scalps, and I like to do them just to challenge myself. But like I said, you know, I'll make money scalping, don't get me wrong, but the money that I pay my bills with comes from these big moves that I hold for 2 weeks, you know, at a time. So if I were to, you know, basically in the last month here, I've virtually taken simply 2 trades that paid out big for me, right? Okay, so with that said, I just wanted to share that with you guys, and because what I'm seeing is like I said, I got this massive short down, and when the time, you know, came, I was sharing like, oh guys, we got the move, it was awesome, and it felt like no one else got it, no one else caught it, but we had, you know, a week to build our positions, but a lot of people just got shook out. Same with here, you know, when the time came, I was sharing, yeah guys, it hit, we got it, but really no one was in that position, no one held the long, no one took it. And it's because of this choppiness, and I understand it's really difficult to get in the mindset to trade it, but I really do encourage you guys to find that patience and really focus a lot on these higher time frames. And while you're building that position, have a sub account, and this is what I do, have a sub account and trade these ranges and stuff like that, just for your own benefit, and also maybe to make a little bit more money and help get a better idea of where the market's at that point in time. So we'll go ahead, and I want to share with you guys kind of my current trading plan here. I 100% closed my long position. from these lows here. I closed them, like I said, at about here. I'm 100% out of those positions. Done. Done with my long. What I want to do now, this is kind of what I was looking at. This is a little bit messy here. I'm going to get rid of some of these. So this is kind of what I'm looking for, okay? What I want to see from here now, and I'm going to hide this because I don't think we're really going to need it. If we take a look at the chart here, we have an untapped weekly here. It's a new weekly. Right below this green line here is our 382 that I mentioned earlier. We're going to want to see hold a support on a higher time frame if we want to see continuation to the upside. So we have these two really nice confluences here, right? This brand new untapped weekly, which we know can give a really good reaction. We have this higher time frame 382, so we know that these are both very key. And then we also have our low time frame 618 right on top of the weekly here as well. So we can see that like this zone here, you know, this zone is just a really nice area of support. And my idea is that we'll get this move down into this zone, right? And from there we'll get this move to the upside to about where? 29.2 zone, which is our monthly open, right? Our current monthly open that we all know that the you know the bulls are really going to want to push back up to that zone if they want to have a really bullish close, right? So that's my thought process. We're going to get that move down, you know, fill that zone there, and it's going to look, you know, ultimately something like this is kind of what I'm going to be looking for. Get this move down here. Let's you know, wreck some of our early longers here that thought we were going to get the breakout, which we can see this massive rejection coming in here. I do think it's possible that we find some support here. I think it's possible. I personally am not crazy about it. When we get there, if we do start to see price hold this area of support, then okay, maybe I'll change my mind and start to open a position. But really, I have my alerts set for a move down to here, and this is really where I'm looking to open up a long position, my stop loss below these lows here, and to send it back up to about that 29.2 zone. And the reason being, like I said, is if we're gonna have continuation, this area has to hold. It has to hold, in my opinion. If we lose these lows, I think that we're going to make a very swift move back down to about that 24K zone, and we can probably kiss new highs goodbye. That's my opinion. It's not totally set in stone. We'll have to take it level by level and see what happens, but in my opinion, if these lows are taken, we're having a swift move down to this 24K zone. Maybe we get some degree of a bounce from there, but I'm not gonna hold my breath for new highs, not by any means. So that's why it's really important that we hold this. I think it's a really clear level of invalidation for us in terms of a trade. So for me, this is a really easy long trade for me to take. Very easy long trade for me to take. I think that is about it that I want to cover here. Let's just take a look at one more thing. I just want to see where the one-to-one extension is on that butterfly harmonic. See if it lines up with some of our, what am I doing here? So that would be from here to here, down to here. Well, would you look at that? The one-to-one extension is exactly at the bottom of our resistance zone at about 28.9. Perfect. So, you know, if this holds and we do break this high, technically that harmonic, the butterfly harmonic here, well, I'll just pull it up for you guys. This butterfly harmonic here, as long as this low holds the D wave, we hit the 618. That is the primary first take profit on a harmonic. If, you know, we go down here and this holds and we go up to here, great, we hit the one-to-one extension, which is the primary target for a harmonic, and a very key take profit too. So, you know, this would be great. We caught the move, you know, from basically down here, caught it up into here, now closed that long, going to trade it down into here, open up a new position in this zone with our stop loss below D, and trade it back up to about 28.9, 29.2 zone for then our next take profit. Okay, so that is my current trading plan. That's what I'm looking to do. I think everything lines up very nicely. We can take a brief moment to look at let's look at some of our liquidity data here. I have this on the, so let's see, look, we have about 7 billion, almost 8 billion in positive delta, so quite a bit squeezed to the downside if we want to. I wouldn't say 7 billion is a really good place for a complete reversal. So again, I would like to simply just see a move down. If we look at where some of these bigger players have their entries, we have about 27.2 and 26.7. So we'll go ahead and look at those on the chart. 27.2, ding, ding, ding. This is our first area of support that I was talking about. And then 26.7, which, ding, 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 again, is right at the 382, the untapped weekly, and the low time frame 618 here. That gives us a great deal of confluence at this zone here for our potential long. Like I said, possible we bounce here, not holding my breath so much on that. I'm more interested in this zone here. We'll take a look at now the heat map just so you guys can take a look and see what we have going on here. All right, so yep, majority of liquidity to the upside on a 7-day time frame has been taken. We do have quite a bit of liquidity at the 25,800. So that is significantly lower. That would be below our lows, right? That would be below our lows. So we're seeing a lot of liquidity down there. The monthly chart doesn't really stand out in any one place in particular. We can see again below the lows about 25,700. You know, the highs here 29,300, which is one of our key zones of resistance, about 30K, and then especially I would say 32,100 is right around where we can see our biggest area of liquidity on this specific time frame for a chart. Let's go ahead and look at our 3 months. Our 3 month, we can see again below these roughly equal lows below the D wave of the harmonic, big area of liquidity. And then again, you know, at about 22,600, 22,400 there, big area of liquidity again. And not surprisingly, above the previous high at about 31,200 and also at about 30K. So, you know, these levels here really not too... You know, definitely when you're looking at liquidity, it is suggesting, you know, likely more of a move down where we sweep those lows and probably have continuation to the downside. And so that's why, again, for me, I'm not going to hold my breath for a sweep of these lows and continuation up. I think that we hit these lows and we dump. I mean, I think that we go lower to possibly this first area of support here, right? But I'm not seeing a whole lot of support for a move to here on the heat map, but I do see it on the liquidity level because we could see that positions were opened in this area here with their probably in here with their you know, their liquidation prices built up into these lows here. We can actually, if we wanted to, take a look at where they are, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to walk everybody through that step by step. Again, you know, going into here, see a lot of longs opening up. Now we can see a lot of shorts opening up into this move down here. Okay. We do have a naked point of control at about that 27, 150, 27, 200 zone that we saw, that little pocket of liquidity that I pointed out on the chart. And also the 26, 700 zone, again, coming up here as another key area. We have a good naked point of control there as well on a daily time frame. Also the previous week point of control, so that's good. This is all very good stuff. I do like this, and yep, now we can see we're getting that move, a little bit of continuation to the downside, so that's good. Yeah, I like what I see there. We'll take a brief look at RNDR. I have my average entry right where this green line is. We can see we just revisited my entry and it acted as resistance, which is pretty tight. And ultimately, I was just looking to trade it down to, sweep these lows. I did take a little bit of profit in here. I'll take more profit once we sweep these lows, but generally speaking, that's what I'm looking for first off. Possible we go lower, but for me, this is good enough. I would be happy with that move. Let's see here, being a 17% move down. Already caught about an 8.5% move. So, yeah, I'm obviously I'm really happy with that. I'm not going to be upset about that. I would definitely, this would be a definite take profit zone for me. Could we go lower? Sure, but I'm not gonna. 17% is great. I'm not gonna push the bill on it. I'll hold my breath for longer. Funding rates not negative, but we're not neutral, right? Price is being shorted, but it's roughly neutral. I mean, it's for all intensive purposes. If we look at the weighted funding rates, for all intents and purposes, it's roughly neutral. It looks like ETH is being shorted a little bit more heavily than BTC. If we take a look at ETH, one setup I had been looking for was this potential butterfly harmonic here. It's a little bit messy, but I like to have it on my chart just for the sake of it. I had a long from here on ETH that I did close in this zone here. And I was looking to trade it up into this area here for a swing failure of this. But now that I see this this bat harmonic, I think it's entirely possible that we hit the 886 somewhere in this zone here at about 1988. If and only if BTC does get that eventual move up to this 28.9, 29.2 zone after a bounce here. So if, price can come back down, get that nice close, and then, over the next few days here, get that move up into this zone. So as long as BTC essentially plays ball, then we're all set on that. And this is a bearish harmonic, so we would look to trade it back down at least to this midline and possibly lower than that as well. Okay. So it all depends. We have to wait and see kind of how price unfolds for BTC, and we can revisit this. Like I said, RNDR, I'm already very happy with my trade. I'll look to close it completely down here. And for BTC, like I said, possible support here. Not going to hold my breath. Definitely looking for this zone here. Okay, so I think we'll cut it off on there. Dang Trader, yeah, thanks for the kind words, man. I appreciate that. He asked the question, why do you think GP Fib works? I don't know what that is. I'm not sure what you're talking about, GP Fib. If you're talking about just like the Fib retracement, why does it work? Well, Fibonacci is in everything. I mean, I don't want to be the one. I'm not going to dive. We can go down the rabbit hole. I'm not going to be the one to do it today. But Fibonacci is in everything. It's in nature. It's oftentimes really does, control. I shouldn't say control, but you'll often find it in patterns of things in human nature, just in nature in general. And trading on a chart has been one of those things. That's why, the 618 is especially key. If you go ahead and you can Google the 618, just in life and in nature and in the universe, and you'll find that it pops up in many places. So unsurprisingly, looking at a chart, a lot of this is really just geometry, right? This is simple mathematics, really at the end of the day, you'll find a lot of geometry and things like that, and hear a lot of harmony in the way that price moves in and of itself. So it's not surprising that the 618 does work, or fibs in general. The other theory is that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The fact that all traders, look at these fib levels, they are the ones therein by that make it work. You see what I'm saying? A self-fulfilling prophecy, and that because we all think that the 618 is going to hold, we all long there, which makes it hold, right? So it could be one of either two. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not here to speculate. I'm just happy that it works so that I can trade it. So, all right, cool. We'll go ahead and call it there. I think that was really good. I do have the charts already up in the Discord for you guys from yesterday. Not a whole lot has changed from those charts, so I will not go ahead and update them today. You can go ahead and just refer to them, from that time already as they are. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the Discord if I didn't get a chance to answer them here during the live stream. Thank you guys for watching. I always appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of your day. Again, be patient. We'll look for this low here. Uh, be patient for the level. Don't worry about missing a trade. There's always, always, always another trade. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, guys.